Welcome back to the channel and another video. So by the time this goes up, you'll have probably seen another video that I did that was a group ride, and I talked sort of a lot more around the club that I'm out with here, which is South Peaks Cycling Club. So I'm not going to repeat too much in terms of sort of the points that I mentioned there, but actually more around this ride itself. So this was actually recorded prior to that last ride. I'd forgotten really that I'd got the footage for this, yeah, so much so, hence no on-screen metrics, all that type of stuff. But what am I doing here, considering most of the time I'm focusing on time trial riding? Well, I was guilty of this last year, and I suppose I've been guilty of this pretty much since I got the Giant Trinity built up as well, in that I'm just so desperate to get sort of every minute I possibly can in the TT position that as a consequence I end up neglecting my endurance. I guess sort of prior to time trial riding, it was still mostly true in the first year, but yeah, something I definitely lost last year and was in danger of losing this year is, I could go on multiple hour road rides and maintain a pretty good pace. So not only in terms of, whatever the average speed output is, which is, part of a game in itself, really. What I mean by that is if you choose your route carefully and plan it properly, then it shouldn't be too hard to difficult. It shouldn't be too difficult to come out with the average speed that you want to achieve. So, for example, make sure that you go out in the wind and come back with it behind you. That will always help. Idea being, you should be fresher going out than what you are coming back. So the wind gives you a nice nudge. That's the first thing. And then second is, actually, if it's all about your average speed, then, just avoid too many hills. Simple. Avoid too many junctions. Simple. But that's not really what I'm talking about here. What I've always been quite good at least for the last 5-6 years, is, whether it's a 2-hour ride, 3-hour ride, 4-hour, whatever it may be, I can generally plan what I kind of want to do from a power point of view, roughly know what that should translate to from a speed point of view, and therefore know roughly how long I'm going to be out of the house. So since I started time trialing and wanting to put all that time into the TT position, I have neglected my endurance. And the one thing that I keep coming across from experts, I don't know how qualified they are, but it certainly makes quite a lot of sense to me, is, you can't always do, especially at my age, so early 40s, can't, just do back-to-back sort of 4, 5, even 6 times a week, just focus on threshold and VO2. Number one, you're pretty knackered, and so as a consequence, you're never really getting the sort of maximum output really from each of those sessions. So that's the first thing. And then second is, actually you still need to put some endurance work in as well. Now, I am somebody who does have a tendency when I go out on endurance rides to especially, or in fact what I'm talking about here is solo, is I start out quite well, hour, maybe 2 hours if I'm lucky, and then I start to get a bit bored. And that's where a group ride for me, particularly a group ride like this, so You know, what these guys have organised on a Saturday generally is sort of somewhere between 50-60 miles. Can be quite hilly because, you know, sort of the location of the club, but hey, all it means is that you get a few surges, and as long as the pace isn't sort of too high in between, then it still kind of works out okay. So all in for me, this was about 65 miles. I did about 30, maybe 35 with the group. I wasn't hanging around for coffee stops because I just don't see the point. But in any case, so yeah, I did about half the route with them, and then what it meant is that really I only had about an hour and a half ish to basically keep my discipline, which I managed to do. So in actual fact, it wasn't as I expected. I thought my effort on the way back would probably be higher than it was. But I guess that just shows you sort of how well the group was doing that day. The other thing as well that I had sort of in the back of my mind is, I think even at this point where we're talking sort of 8:30 in the morning, we were already up to about 25, 26 degrees. And I knew that the route coming back was quite open, not a lot of shade, not too many opportunities to refill bottles, etc., etc. And so I think with that in mind is, yeah, it was very tempting to sort of go chasing after these guys. And I think you even going up this, you know, quite a long climb, I think there's either a section where I already have, or it's coming up where I do decide to chase up a little bit and sort of have to rein myself in. So with all those things in mind, and you know, ultimately remembering what I was trying to get out of this ride, I actually did pretty well. So it was a few weeks ago. We're now very, very close, if not actually when this video goes out, to be in the beginning of August. And yeah, I'm just trying to mix things up. I've said this in a couple of other recent videos. Getting a couple of sort of intense sessions in on a weekly basis. Those that I am doing, I'm going to do on the time trial bike, sort of anywhere between an hour and a quarter, mostly focusing on sort of sweet spot, threshold, even VO2 intervals. But otherwise, even if I get an hour on the road bike, if I've already done my intensity for that for the particular week, then yeah, I'm just rolling out and you know, keeping things nice and light. I was lucky to do some lactate testing not so long ago. I think my levels may have changed a little bit, but not so significant that you know, I'm not really getting out of each session what I want. So yeah, there we go. So though even those easier rides, just basically trying to keep them below LT1, because really keen not to lose too much endurance. So I thought I would just share this insight, opportunity to upload another video as well at the same time. Good group. Look out for previous video on South Peaks Cycling Club. We're about to hit the coffee shop. Didn't realise, so I rolled into the park with them before leaving. But if you do have any comments or questions in terms of training approach at the moment, anything to do with the club, even the roads that we've been on here, whatever it may be, do drop them in the section below. Big thumbs up if you like the video, and subscribe if you would like to see more. Thanks for watching. 70.